All right, all right. Well, welcome to When a Man Loves a Woman. A lot of people hear men talk about respect and think it's an ego thing. It's deeper than ego, let me tell you that, because respect affects how a man stands, how a man speaks, and how a man loves, and how a man leads. A man can
Mhm.
keep working, keep providing, keep showing up, and still be worn down inside because he feels dishonored in the very place where he's trying to give his best. Tonight, that's what we're going to deal with. We're going to have an open, honest dialogue about why men need respect. So we want to welcome you to When a Man Loves a Woman. This is the podcast where we uplift men, we support women, and we strengthen our families through honest conversations, practical wisdom, and biblical clarity. Tonight we are dealing with a major issue in relationships, marriage, why men need respect. So if you're live with us, why don't you like and share this video, subscribe to our channel, drop questions in the comments, and stay with us because this is a conversation that a lot of people need to hear. Our men need to hear it, our women need to hear it, our children need to hear it because this fundamental breakdown hurts the entire family. Now, respect matters to a man because it touches his identity, it touches his value, it touches his strength, and it touches the purpose. And all of it happens at one time. One word, one phrase, one look can tell a man you don't respect him, and that crushes him on the inside because a man just doesn't want to be tolerated. He doesn't want to just know that he can provide. He wants to know that he can be respected in his own house. And when respect is present, it actually does something in that man. Hear me today. It settles him, it strengthens him, it gives him confidence. It gives him a sense that he is not just surviving in his own house, but that he is actually valued there. So when we're talking about respect, when it's missing, a man will still keep on working. He'll still keep paying the bills. He'll still keep it moving, but he's going to do so without having that inner need met. And when he's doing that without respect, when he's paying the bills, when he's taking care of the house, when he's protecting and doing all he's supposed to do in the context of a lack of respect, it ends up draining him. And he becomes more guarded. He becomes more quiet. He becomes frustrated internally. You may never know, except all he does is go quiet. But that's because he has been wounded by the lack of respect. And this is where this conversation gets important. And I'm glad to be joined tonight by Barry and Carl because we're going to have a real good discussion about respect because it's often misunderstood. Most men can't articulate what it means to be respected, yet they know when it's absent. I hope you'll hear me today. Because some people hear the word respect and they think that men are asking for control. He just want to be in control. He just want to tell me what to do. Well, no, that's not it. See, that's the key. Because what we're talking about here is about understanding that men, when they talk about respect, isn't about them being worshiped, obeyed blindly, or treated like kings while they act like fools.
Mhm. Mhm.
Understand me.
Mhm.
We're talking about honor. We're talking about how a man is spoken to, how a man is regarded, how a man is treated, and whether he feels valued in the place where he's trying to build a home. And if we're going to be honest, many men do not always have the right language for this. Ladies, you may have asked your man, well, what does it feel? What do you mean respect? What do you mean honor? And they may not have been able to tell you really what that means because it's probably more that they can know it when they see it, more so than be able to give you a full definition. Well, tonight we want to give you a definition of what it means to really respect a man and one that he can then articulate to you when he's not feeling that he's getting that respect from you. Because that's why respect matters. Because if a man is not respected, he'll keep on going, but
Mhm.
he'll do so with his heart someplace else. And so we're going to deal with this respect issue directly tonight because respect matters most to men. And it's not pride and it's not insecurity. See, that's that. Oh my goodness, we're gonna have a good time talking about this tonight. Because so oftentimes men are criticized for being, well, you're just so insecure because of such and such. No, it's because you are showing disrespect and dishonor, and a man has a right to put parameters and boundaries around his woman so that he doesn't feel disrespected by what you're doing. So let's get into it. Let's get into it tonight. Let's first start by watching this video, which I think very clearly explains what it means to really respect a man. So we'll watch this video, and then we're gonna start our discussion.
You're not losing your man because he doesn't love you. You're losing him because you don't respect him, okay? So just let that sink in for a minute and let me explain. Love does not keep a man. Respect does. And most women don't understand what that looks like for a man. It's not what you say. It's how you say it. Your tone, your reactions, how you speak to him when you're upset and when people are watching. Because you can say, I love you all day long, right? It's words. But if you interrupt him, correct him, roll your eyes, make him feel small, belittle him, that's disrespect. And men don't stay where they feel that. They don't argue forever. They will detach quietly. Less effort, less presence, less interest. And once he checks out, you don't bring him back with affection or sex. He's already gone. You think being strong means challenging him, controlling everything, and needing to win, but that is not strength, especially feminine strength. That is ego. Respect looks like trusting his lead, listening without trying to overpower him, speaking in a way that builds him up and not breaks him down, okay? You don't lose your voice. You learn how to use it, because when a man feels respected, oh my God, he shows up different, more grounded, more driven, more intentional, more willing to actually lead you. So before you say he's not stepping up, ask yourself this. Have you actually been giving him something worth stepping up for?
Wow.
Wow. I mean, come on. Wow. That's why men need respect. I think she started off our discussion very well, because, she was very clear about what happens to a man when he doesn't get that respect and what happens to a man when he does. And you want to see a man step up, ladies, I'm talking to you now. If you want to see a man step up, you show him that respect, not worship, not feed his ego. But when you show a man that he really is respected, you're going to see a different type of man emerge. You'll see him move mountains. In fact, what's that old song they used to sing? He'll drink muddy water and sleep in a hollow log. When just for you, when
I
he knows
don't
you
know that
respect
one, Pastor.
That's before your time.
Barry,
That's
if you
before
don't
your
know it,
time.
I definitely don't know it.
That's before your time. In fact, old Fred Sanford used to sing that song on Sanford and Son.
Oh,
Drink muddy
Elizabeth.
water and sleep in a hollow log just for you. So what is respect? Let me give you my definition for respect. Respect is the consistent honoring of a man's dignity, a man's value, and the man's role by speaking to him and treating him in a way that builds him up rather than breaks him down. So now we've given you a definition, because when men can articulate this, then that means that they no longer have to just say, well, I don't know, but you ain't respecting me. No, I want you to be able to say, well, how you said that did not honor my dignity, my value, and the role that God has given me in this house. You see? And that's what God is calling us to do. God is calling us to understand each other, to understand our spouses and girlfriends and everything else. And in order to do that, that means that we have to, ladies, you have to understand that we need respect. We can't make it without respect. And
Can I
hear
interject
me.
right here, real quick?
Yep.
Though?
Come on.
Can
Come
I
on
interject
in.
real quick?
Yep.
So a thought that came to my mind when you read that definition, ladies, to help you try to paint the picture. Being treated like a queen. We always hear that every woman wants to be treated like a queen. That is the equivalent to a man wanting to be respected.
Wow. That's good. That's exactly right. That's right. Now, and Carl, to nuance that, I don't want, because see, ladies are clear that they want to be queens, and they have an idea from the Disney movie what they think being a queen is. Um, but there can be no queen until the king is first established. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I need our
Yeah.
ladies to understand is that you can't be a queen and be treated like a queen if the man himself is not treated as a king. And we had King Charles here, last week, and what was interesting, remember, is that King Charles, Prince Charles, he was married to Lady Diana, and she was supposed to be the queen. So because he divorced her and married Camilla, Camilla now became the queen, but she could not become a queen until the previous queen declared that when she married and when Charles became king, she would then become a queen consort. In other words, she could not receive any queen status until he first walked in his king status. And I want to say that because they are mutually dependent on each other. So, ladies, we want you to be treated like queens, but you can't get queen status until you first establish that the king is in the house. My God, today. That may make some people upset.
That's
That may make
heavy.
some people
Wait,
upset.
wait,
That's heavy.
wait. It's
You
just,
know,
it's just
I,
like Muhammad Ali. Start doing the chant. The champ is here. The king is here.
you know, when you're saying that, and this might be a small thing, a big thing to some, but it is. You do have to accept that the king is in the house. I just love the way you said that. But I'll take something as a man saying to his woman, when I'm not around, I don't want you to drink. When I'm not around, I don't want you to wear this. The first thing out of a woman's mouth is, and I don't want to say all.
Mm.
First thing is, you're trying to control me.
Yep.
No, no,
Yep.
no. But my role is to protect you.
Right.
I understand. I'm not saying you don't understand how crazy this world. I'm a man. I've been around men. I understand how some of these men are. So certain ways I want to protect you. It's not to control you.
That's right.
But when you just when you combat me on that issue, that becomes a disrespect thing because you're not just having a conversation with me, you're automatically going to my character and calling me a controlling individual when my goal is to protect the queen that you want to be.
That's it. That's it.
Because a king is going to protect their queen, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. But you touched right on. I mean, man, we just starting off strong right now because you touched on like the third rail. Because women dress in such a way. Like, I mean, nowadays, my wife, she loves to go. My wife and daughters, they love to go to the beach. I can't stand the beach. I'm not built for the beach, but praise the Lord. But when you see what they wear at the beach now, it's like you might as well be naked. And but you see a lot of single women doing it, but then every now and then you'll see a married woman with these thong bikinis on. It's like, what? It's like, man,
It's
don't
all
you?
out.
Yeah, it's like, what do you share in the bedroom? Because it looks like she's showing it all to everybody else. And unfortunately, when a man says to his woman, "Hey, listen, I don't think you should wear that." Why not? It looks good on me. I wear it because it looks good on me. Yeah, but you ain't here for it looking good on you. Your focus is to honor me, just like my focus is to honor you.
Yes.
And if and so this whole idea that I have to be a queen, I can do what I want to do. You don't tell me what to do. You're just insecure. It's not insecurity. It's saying that what you're wearing dishonors me because really what you're saying to every man out there is, hey, look at me. And no man wants to know that his woman is being, looked at in such a way, a lustful way, because that's a disrespect to him immediately. And it somehow says, woman, that you desire men to look at you like a piece of meat.
Yeah, you want attention. Now I got to fight.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if someone comes to you and says something to you or tries to touch you or whatever else, then you have instigated a fight. Because that man can't just sit there and just let you be disrespected. But you open the door because you wore something that was inappropriate, and the man tried to tell you Don't wear that. Oh, you just so insecure. I need to be with a man who's secure in his manhood. You're just not a real man. No, he is a real man when he tells you that. Because he understands what other men are looking at. And you know it because that's why you want to wear it. But your attention should only be focused on your man.
What your man likes.
Yeah. And he may like that in his bedroom, but he doesn't
Exactly.
want that on the beach or at the pool. You know? And to me, and you know, I'm old school. We have these discussions offline, but you know, I'm old school. Like, I don't understand why these women be wearing all these stretchy pants everywhere. You know, to me, I don't. That's not appropriate. I just don't think it's appropriate. Like, that's why I had to build a gym at my house, because I can't go to the gym the way these women dress. They got their camera and they got, you know, they doing something for the Instagram, and they, you know, wearing all these tight clothes, and it's like, that's a distraction to me. I mean, I literally, last time I was in the gym, I literally had to walk on the treadmill with my eyes closed
Oh
because
my God.
because it was all around me. You know, and it's like these women don't even understand what they're doing, because men are aroused by women. I mean, that's just how it is.
That's how it is.
And a man knows. A man knows that when he looks at a woman, that, you know, he's supposed to look at her a certain way with respect, but then she also has to carry herself as one who wants to be respected and not one who wants to be seen as just a physical object. I know we're talking deep right now, but I sure hope you all are understanding what's at stake here, because respect is what strengthens a man. And so, ladies, when you actually dress modestly, when you actually keep what's private private, it may not make you feel good among the masses, but you most certainly are making that man feel like you honor and respect him, because there's something only he gets a chance to see. If everybody can see everything you offer, then what's special? What does he have that somebody else doesn't have? Now, these are real issues that are plaguing our relationships. And when you say to a man, you're insecure, it's not about ego and pride. It's about you showing him that respect, that I'm not going to wear this because this says I'm single, or this says that I'm on the market, or this says that I want another man's attention other than my own man's attention. And what ends up happening is that lack of respect ends up undercutting a man. But when a man feels respected, I'm telling you, that man will do anything necessary for you. You know,
Yeah.
and when you see him respond like that, like, let's use the same example we talked about. When you are wearing something that he says, "Hey, I'd prefer you not to wear that," and you change without a whole bunch of talking back and tension and conflict, but you say, "Okay, let me go change." You don't know what you just done to that man. What you've done to him is you've shown him respect. Because, and I know we're going to talk about this later on, but when you are at work and your boss tells you not to wear something, you don't give him a bunch of lip. You don't go back and forth with him. Well, I think. You're not going to do any of that. You're going to say, "Yes, sir," and you're going to do exactly what that boss asked you to do. And in a healthy man, respect strengthens him, and it inspires him to love better, to lead better, to speak better, and to be more present. Because a respected man is usually easier to talk to, easier to correct, because we are not always right, and
Yeah.
we need to be corrected. But it's easier for him to be corrected from a position of feeling respected than it is when he's feeling disrespected. But I'm
It's
telling you,
easier to get what you want from a man that feels respected too.
come on now, come on, talk it, talk
Here you
that,
go.
talk that. That's exactly right. And women, you don't understand the power you have not to fight him, not to say, "I got to go my own way. I got to show him that I'm a strong woman." Don't nobody want to hear that. The man has to deal with that in the world every day. He's always having to deal with somebody who's trying to flex. But the last thing he wants to have to do is to flex in his own house.
Yeah, the only man that wants a man's energy is a gay man. I
That's
mean,
it. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. You cannot have two men in the relationship. That's the
No.
bottom line. That's too much masculine energy, and it won't work. And a man knows that. Ladies, we're trying to help you. A man won't like that. You're wondering why your man is checked out. I want you to check your respect level, because disrespect also will drain a man.
Yeah, because he starts to feel exhausted
Yeah,
because he can't keep knocking at this pole that just won't move.
that's
Like
right.
after a
Just
while,
to
he's
touch
like,
on
okay,
that, sorry to cut you off, Barry. Yeah,
that's
but
all
just to
right.
touch on that, like when a man really is disrespected, uh, and by all means, there's a lot of different point of views on different types of disrespect, because you got public embarrassment. Touch on the point of being dressed in public, like if that man does not voice his opinion on how he feels with you being dressed that way, he might not actually voice that he feels publicly embarrassed. Now, yes, it is up to that man to really voice that opinion with you, rightfully so, but then also, if you start a little argument here or there, the belittling language, like it, we us as men tend to really take that 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 letdown, and we might not want to put that back on you, which is where we start to get silent, because we know how harsh our words can be. And we know that, at least from the king's standpoint, the king's mind frame, that why would I want to put my own wife down? So
Hmm.
I'm going to stop myself from talking down on my other half. At least that's how I think.
Mhm.
Um, but not even just that though, like, talking to him like he's a child. I think that might be the most disrespectful way to really treat a
My God.
man
Mm.
ever.
I
Like,
felt that.
Yes,
we
sir.
are all grown people here. Like, we two grown adults agree to come into a relationship, a relationship, and we should be able to approach any topic of conversation as full grown adults. And I can share a personal story on a previous relationship that I was in, and if anybody knows my story, I ended up moving out of the house around 22. No, I'm sorry, 25 years old, and it was coming to that realization that, what, it is my time to move out. This is not my home. I have to find my own home. And where I am living right now, I've been here for 6 years, and this is my home. I made it my home. And at some point in time, I figured, I would like to share my time with somebody. And I entered into a relationship that fizzled out over time. But then the reason why I really cut it off is because she really tried going through my apartment and started trashing my apartment. And I put a stop to that immediately, because, again, like, I bring you into my home. I tell you, when I share my space, this is my safe haven. And then you choose to come in and start throwing, pulling, try, like, nah. So it's like, to every man, disrespect is the quickest way to really kill any type of intimacy, relationship, or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I told you offline. That's yeah, that's awful. But I did used to think that was some real love. That toxic love. I thought that was passion. I didn't take that as disrespect. I thought you must really love me. But really it's you really don't respect me. You got the gall to come trash my house that
Yeah.
I invited you into. When you come to the realization that yeah, that's not love at all. That
Right, right. But and Carl, you got a physical example of it, but how many women verbally tear up their house by tearing down the
mm,
man, tearing down this? Look at you were a real man, we'd have a better car than this. If you were a real man, we'd have better stuff. You mean we got to keep eating hot dogs? Where's my
And then
steak?
compare you to another man.
Oh yeah,
Can I get a
that's an
witness?
easy number two. Yeah, that's an easy number two. Versus talking to a man as a child. Yeah, you start comparing him to another
To
guy.
another man. Yeah, but see, but these things have
Ooh.
become commonplace in relationships, and it is destructive at the highest level because women, just like you all, don't like certain things that we say, and you hold on to it for years. You compare a man to another man, and you have literally undercut him. And honestly, and we can talk about this later on, but I don't know how you come back from that. I'll be honest with you. It takes a lot because that level of disrespect will drain a man.
Well,
And
yeah,
it will
because you're honestly, well, I know me. I'm not an insecure man,
right.
but when if you do that in your mind, you're always thinking that you value that other man more than you value me.
Exactly.
There's absolutely no respect there.
Right.
So every
That is.
time you're looking at me and anything I do, you're thinking that man is better.
Right.
And I
Right.
don't I don't know how you can have a home like that.
But
It
what
doesn't
goes along
work.
but what goes along with that, Barry, is that he also then thinks all you're doing is using him
Mm,
because you really want to be with that other man, but you're settling for him.
for me,
Yeah,
yeah.
you selling for me. You see what I'm saying? So that's the other part of that. So it's not just that you are deferring to that other man, but you're also saying all I am is just a free meal. And if you can get a free meal from someplace else, you most certainly will. You see?
That's great. Yeah.
But that's
Yeah,
what happens.
that's a
Mm.
perspective.
Yeah. But see, but that's what happens. And so, Carl, you got a real physical manifestation of the disrespect, which in and of itself is crazy. I mean, that's just crazy. I don't even know how to other say it other than that. That's just crazy. But
Did
but
you
but
call the
imagine
cops?
but
I actually did. I actually did.
Okay, okay, okay.
Crazy enough, I actually felt bad for doing it. It's another black woman that I'm calling the cops on. But it's like at the end of the day, and I'm not even gonna continue the rest of the story. Maybe offline, but like again, it's like I need to put the focus on my piece. Going back to the original
right,
topic,
right, right,
when I first joined, like
right,
the overall goal is to get peace,
right,
not
Mhm.
just in myself, but in the relationship, in the house.
right,
And
right,
and truly, if you do get peace in the house, then guess what? That means there's peace within myself, there's peace within my wife, there's peace within the kids, there's peace within my entire family.
absolutely. No, that's good because you were able to set a boundary. Now,
Mhm.
now, sadly, you not sadly, but you were able to actually say, I'm better than this. I'm not even going to live in this kind of environment, and that's a blessing because some guys would have said, like you said, Barry, "Ooh, she really loves me. Ooh, that's some passion right there. You can't beat that passion. That's real passion right there. You know,
Look at
and
her.
and
She's
you
so cute. She's so
and there's
cute when
something,
she mad.
and that's because she loves
you
me.
you like that little crinkle? You like that little crinkle?
Not no more, but yeah.
Oh
Exactly.
man.
But at some point we have to set boundaries. We have to set boundaries and
Yes.
say when this is not how these things are going to go. And men, that's where you have to really have a vocabulary to be able to say this is why this is a problem for me. And that's not a negative thing either. That's not a
No.
negative thing to be able to say that. But we do ourselves a disservice when we don't take the time to really express, hey, listen, I know you like what you're wearing, but I got to let you know that if you go out in that disrespects me, not because I'm insecure, but because you're sending a message to everybody else that this is the kind of man I am that would have his woman go out of here dressed like this. And
Yeah,
that
because
no, go ahead.
and I'm sorry, uh, and with that because I think it's it's your man. It's
Right,
what your man is comfortable with because another man might be comfortable with it, but
right,
your man is not comfortable with it. And he should come to you with love. Um,
right, right,
and saying it to you, he shouldn't, talk to you like a child. But at the same time, that's you should be honoring your man like he's honoring you.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. Because if not, what ends up happening is you go out in that, and the man, instead of enjoying himself, he's watching all the men that look at you, and it's almost like it's a knife, a dagger stab at him. Every man he looks, every man he sees look you up and down and focus on your private areas, and he has to endure that. That's like a knife jab in his heart, over and over and over again. And ladies, you got to understand that, you know, because that's true. We there's such a level of disrespect that has been built into the culture,
Mm.
and many men have either learned to take it and swallow it, or, and this is where it gets dangerous, they've learned not to care.
Yeah.
And when you get a man to the point where he just doesn't care, you could go out of the house naked and he won't say a word. That's a dangerous place to be, because ladies, if he's raising the issue of you being, whether it's the dress, your modesty, or whatever else, well, take him seriously, because when he doesn't say anything, you've lost him, and that man is checked out. But that's what persistent disrespect does to a man. It ends up he just checks out, and you'll start finding that he will either find his comfort and respect from someplace else. Now, of course, we're not in any way trying to validate infidelity or anything like that. However, when a man finds respect from someplace, any place, he will most gladly spend his time there. And it doesn't even have to be sexual. In fact, it probably isn't sexual. You
I'm about to
know,
say sometimes it's just sitting somewhere in silence. That's because he's getting the respect from the silence.
can I get a witness?
The
Can I
silence
get a
not
witness?
talking back. He's not calling
Yeah,
them names.
yeah, yeah. Because sometimes men just sit back and wonder, well, am I crazy?
Wow.
Am
Yes.
I crazy not wanting my woman, my wife, my fiance to not go out of here showing all her body to everybody? Am I the crazy one?
No,
And that's serious, you know,
no,
Be-
and
because
yeah,
because as long as um we hold a standard, and because we respect ourselves, that's going to cause a tension which when you're with someone who doesn't respect you the way you deserve to be respected.
Mhm.
And it just tears
yeah,
everything up. Like you said, Carl, it affects the house, it affects the
Mhm.
kids, it affects everything. And to me, nothing is more infuriating than to see kids
Yeah.
disrespect their father.
Mhm.
But all that shows is that child, that child or those children have grown up in an environment where disrespect was allowed.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know,
Like even Lynn Bradley 4708, she brings up a good point. We need to do better at teaching our young people what a healthy relationship look like, for sure. And it starts home. What does the children see? How does the children see their mother and father interact with each other?
right,
Like, I can think back to my childhood. Didn't have the easiest childhood, but at the same time, I saw respect between my mother and my father,
right,
and I
right,
seen my parents argue, but they never left each other. They were there. They were present for the most part. Yes, they had their lacks in their communication. I picked up some habits that I would love to drop off, that I'm working on dropping off. But it's it was a consistency of seeing both my mother and my father under the same roof and getting through it together.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, Roxy Baby, I think it's Roxy Baby. I think she kind of mad at us because she gave us a thumbs down. But what she asked was, what do you say to the man who likes their woman scantily clad? Now we about to get into trouble. We about to get in trouble. Who wants to
Not
answer
not
that?
necessarily.
So
I'll
so so
honestly, I'll go.
oh,
I'll wait before you go, Barry. Truthfully, I think when it comes to something like that, like if there's a mutual understanding between both the man and the woman, if that is how he feels confident being around that woman, then truthfully, like from the outside looking in, yes, we have our thoughts and our beliefs that we fall back on, but like, who truthfully, who are we to come into that relationship? Now, we can want better for them, and we can say, not, I wouldn't necessarily tell for another man to walk up to another man's woman and be like, did you intend to walk out the house that way? Like, no, that is not another man's place to make that comment to another woman, And by all means, I'm not even going to approach the man talking about what his woman is dressed like, So
Right.
again, that,
But what about that
so
man?
there's
But
going
what
to,
does it say about the man though? The man who likes to see their women go out looking, showing everything. What does that say about that man?
See, I think that's a tough conversation to have in a short period of time because of all the influences. Like, how was he raised? Like, what did he see in life? What So it's like that's a tough one, because that man might really think this is okay. That he might that man. It's kind of a pimp behavior, right? Like,
There you go. Come on with it.
pimping ain't
See,
easy.
see,
like let me show this thing off.
right. What? See,
So
right. And see, that's so. Let me go ahead and say it because y'all trying to be, praise the Lord for each of you, but that man sees you with very low respect because a man who values something or someone, he's going to protect it. And if a man likes to see his woman scantily clad, his pimp game is strong because he's not going to want a regular man, a normal man, a respectful man is not going to want to put his wife out there in that kind of environment. They're just not. So a man who
so
wants
so
his woman to dress a certain way where she's provocative to other men, that man doesn't have real respect for that woman.
I'm sorry, Pastor. You said this pimp game is strong, but I, what I want to say is I agree with you up to a point, because sometimes you just don't know. Is what I'm trying to say. Do you know what I mean? Like, he might think that that's respect. He thinks that. Sometimes you
Yeah.
don't know the truth until you get to the truth. Is what I'm trying to say. So that's why I say it's a hard. It's like a psychological like discussion that
Yeah. Because even like the other side of that conversation that could be had like man to man is like, you feel comfortable with your woman coming out the house. Well, let me ask you this: how far do you see you taking this relationship?
And I bet it's not far. I bet it's not far.
Yeah, So it's like, truthfully,
but
like,
that's
if yeah, go on, Barry.
no, in this I'm gonna call it a new world. They say I want all the men looking at my woman. If all the men ain't looking at my woman, I don't want her.
That's crazy.
That's
That's some brokenness.
No. You know what's crazy? No, I've heard that before.
That's some serious
Especially
brokenness right there.
Going through college, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, like if
that's why there's a
if
need for
all eyes
pastors.
ain't on her, then why do I want my? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's some serious brokenness right there. And that goes back to Lynn's comment about teaching the young people because my
Yes.
God, if you get joy out of seeing people, what's the old fashioned word, ogling your woman and lusting over her in front of you, that's some brokenness that needs some
Yeah.
serious counseling.
Because I'm so I don't know the stats, but I know when I was I was 70s, but my teenage years were in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
All them teenagers were pregnant in the 90s.
Hmm.
Who was raising them kids?
That's right.
Kids.
Yeah.
Their parents.
and not the kids from my grandmother's time.
Right.
Kids that still want to go out and party. Kids
Right.
that so
Right. No. And
the
that's right.
mindset is just different.
That's right. And
Yeah.
no, and in fact, come on now. You got grandparents now who out in the club with their grandchildren.
Oh yeah, they out there
Gee,
taking
more
shots,
Christmas. My God. I just it just it
wearing scantily clothes.
Jesus help us, Jesus. Oh Lord, my God. So come on, let's talk about how respect can help build the house. Let's shift this a little bit because we can stay on this topic a little too long. But let's talk about how respect can help build the house.
Well, I mean, like as we've been saying all night, men, they want and they need respect from their woman, but it's not just about the man, right? Respect it helps out the whole house because when respect is in the house, it breathes different. The conversations hit different and conflicts get handled different. I mean, the whole atmosphere changes. So kids, they learn how to see fatherhood, manhood, and partnership from the way their parents speak to each other. And the truth of the matter is, guys, a man could deal with a lot outside of his house. He could even take some disrespect outside of his house. But when there's no respect when he comes home,
Mm,
he starts to shut down.
that's right.
Because I believe that respect is somehow connected to purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're not looking to control the house. We're looking to carry the weight, right, of it.
Mm-hmm.
So if we feel constantly dismissed at home, eventually we stop feeling safe to lead in it. That's why we start shutting down because you don't want to listen. You don't want to like I'm not trying to rule you like a dictator, but you don't want to hear anything I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just go to my corner. So when we're trying to lead our family with vision and every move gets challenged
Right. Right.
before it's even understood, we shut down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And respect doesn't mean that a man's always right because I know me. Believe me, I'm wrong a lot.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Amen.
I'm a human beings, right? We're all human beings, but so it doesn't mean that your woman can't challenge you. And I know I'm a person that I don't want a wife that doesn't have anything up here.
Right.
I want a wife that I can bounce things off with, and she has intelligent things to say back to me. Listen, some of the things my wife has, we went back and forth for. She saved us. You know what I
Amen.
mean? Because her
Absolutely.
idea was better than mine.
Absolutely.
But
And a
when
good
you're
leader
just
needs that. Yes.
exactly a good leader isn't a dictator, in my
That's right.
opinion.
That's right.
Um,
That's right.
but it does mean that sometimes, yeah, I heard your ideas, but I've researched this. This is what God is telling me to do. This is what we need to do. And sometimes that's what we're doing.
Right. Right.
Sometimes you have to follow that lead too and not fight me on that.
Amen.
Because I might not know where we're going.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
this is where God told me to go. So you're supposed to be supporting me. You might help me. We're gonna work this out together.
Yes.
So I think respect goes both ways, but we are right now talking about men because respect to us, to me, I think the way we receive respect is the way that women receive love.
Mm.
Because we are not looking for the same thing that women are
Right.
looking for.
Right.
We're
Right.
just
Right.
not looking for the same thing.
That's
It's
right.
like if I'm disciplining my children, right, and then you're constantly fighting me in front of
Right.
the children. You
Right.
don't compromise on anything. What that's telling me is that you don't respect me enough to lead.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think
Hmm.
that's what you're doing, but that's actually what you're doing.
Right.
Because I believe most good fathers, they want their children to go past
Yeah.
where they were. So they
Mm-hmm.
they want to teach them everything that they know, teach them all the pitfalls they fell in so they don't fall in them. So when you're constantly challenging him, I feel like what you're telling him is, I don't even respect who you are.
Right.
Do you
Right.
understand what I mean? Like,
Right.
because how could you respect who I am if you don't trust me to raise my kids to go into the right direction? Um, so I think when you have that respect in the house, as we talked before, there's peace in the house.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
chaos in the house. There's civility in the house. And love is all over in the house because as I said before, when a woman respects a man, he does anything for her. So those things, because listen, when a woman's not respecting a man, then a woman to say, well, you don't kiss me, or you don't do this, or you don't do that, or you don't do this, but you're not thinking about how you're constantly belittling him.
Right. Right.
You tell him he can't do this, and then you're expecting him to be able to just shower you with all his love. I'm not saying he shouldn't try, because it says, a man is supposed to love like Christ, but
Hmm.
we're human beings, right? We're not Christ, so
Right. Right.
sometimes we don't reach that point.
Hmm.
Um,
No, that's
so
right.
yeah, so
No, that's good.
so
That's
so
good. That's good, because honor goes both ways. It does go both ways. We know that, and we're not trying to say that men are the only ones who need respect, and men can treat women any kind of way. That's not what we're saying at all. What we're saying is, if you want your house to run well, it starts with that man feeling, sensing, knowing that he is respected. He's not going to be
yes,
perfect. He's going to make wrong decisions. He's going to mess up. But what a man needs to know at his best and at his worst is that his woman is standing by his side. And if you become the great antagonist to your man, I'm talking to the ladies here. If you become a great antagonist to your man, you are tearing him down. And in essence, when you tear him down, you're tearing your whole house down. Now, we
yes,
could
you are.
we could do a whole show on what you said earlier, Barry, about when the father's trying to discipline the children and the wife cuts across him and challenges him, because that, I believe that's part of the reason why our young people right now are so jacked up, because they won't hear the father's voice. And I believe that a lot of the stuff that's going on in the streets today, if the man were present and the man were vocal and the man were respected, these children would act differently. But because they're
Oh, I
not
believe
living,
that.
because they're not growing up in an environment where that man's voice is respected, then that ends up tearing the entire house down. And that's so important. That's so important. So let's we have to close it out here real quick, but let's just remember this, that a man, because we're gonna have to do a part two to this. I don't think we certainly we just scratched the surface on this. We're gonna come back and probably hit this again, because we got so much we've got to talk about. But a man can survive without respect for a little while. Hear me?
For a
So
little
I
while.
don't want you to think that all hope is lost. But he can't thrive as the man that you want him to be and the man that God has created him to be without respect. Respect strengthens the man, and a strengthened man helps strengthen the house. So if you want a healthier relationship, you want a stronger home, and you want a more stable family, you can't allow respect to be in your household, because it's not a small thing. Respect matters to the entire house, and it starts with that man. So this is Barry, Carl, and Trevon thanking you for being with us tonight. And we pray that your eyes were open, that you got some information, that you got some words to be able to put to what you're dealing with, so that you can go out of here and you can be a better husband, a better wife, a better fiance, better girlfriend, boyfriend, so that you can truly bring God into your family and be an example of what it means to truly love and serve God. We'll see you next week as we continue our discussions on When a Man Loves a Woman. We're uplifting men, we're supporting women, and we're strengthening our families. God bless you.